Hey y'all, it's Taylor Bridges here. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. I am reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 9. The episode is titled Partying Ways. All right, before we get into the review, please like, comment, subscribe, something. Interact with me in some sort of way. I would just greatly appreciate it. Really would appreciate it. So we're with Dominique and McKinley and Pastor Cal, and we're waiting for Dominique to decide whether she's going to move forward with McKinley or not. She says she feels like she's kind of over it. And what sucks is that they haven't even had some big blowout. They haven't even really done anything to each other compared to like a Gina and Clint. Gina and Clint have actually had a disagreement. Even like a Nicole and Chris have had a few bumpy moments and conversations. But these two, Dominique and McKinley, they don't really have any real issues right now, as of now. They haven't opened up to each other. They don't talk about anything interesting to get to know one another. And they've spent most of their time and energy arguing over which excursion, over who wants to do which excursion. They haven't really talked about anything. It's just been giggles. That's it. So y'all can't even have a constructive argument about anything important at this juncture. Now, what is, a big thing to watch out for is like their behavior amid how they're behaving amid this sort of disagreement. Like, you know what I mean? But leading up until now, there's no like clear indicators that they should be having this sort of disagreement so far. Like they haven't really gotten past pleasantries at this point, to be honest. So I don't see what they have. What is there for y'all to ever argue about? It's nothing. Like if anything, perhaps, I could see them maybe behaving like a Kristen and Shaq, where there's no chemistry or touching or kissing, stuff like that. But certainly not this whole blow up over who wants to do which excursion. I stand by my opinion that Dominique is overreacting in this situation. I believe she wants a doll. I don't think she wants a man. Him not wanting to do the excursions, him being a little less social, are not, in my opinion, characteristics unbecoming of a husband. Like, let's be real. Not in the grand scheme of marriage and what that entails. If anything, marriage teaches you to accept and appreciate the other person, I would think, for who they are, because y'all decided to make this commitment. You know what I mean? It would, you by the time you get to the point of making that commitment, you're now appreciating the person for who they are, and y'all found that way to mesh y'all's personalities. These characteristics that she's condemning McKinley for aren't necessary to be a great husband. She could have been paired up with the most adventurous guy ever, and there could still be a crap load of things wrong with him. Like, I do wish she would have focused on the qualities about McKinley she did like. This is just more confirmation for me that Dominique doesn't know what she wants. Because I can guarantee you that even if she got exactly what she asked for, she would have still had an issue. She's just super immature. I cannot stand her. I cannot stand Dominique. Oh my gosh. Pastor Cal recommends taking ample time before getting in. He recommends to Dominique to take ample time before getting into another relationship. And he suggests that maybe 25 is too young. I don't think 25 is too young. Dominique is too young. She's pathetic. I cannot stand somebody who cannot smell their own crap. She just utterly lacks accountability. She tells McKinley she's so sorry. McKinley is really emotional about the divorce. And despite the crap that I've talked about McKinley, I actually think Dominique is the one taking the L in this scenario. Like, this could have been her winning lottery ticket. As far as I'm concerned, McKinley he's easygoing, he's cute, he makes a coin in a very fun way, in a fun, unique industry. He isn't tied down. He can travel, move around, adapt, and he's just waiting on someone to settle down with. It makes sense. Like, I think she's definitely messing up with this one. I don't know what sort of quality options Dominique believes are available to her out there, but I can bet that they're slim. Dominique is selfish, she's immature, and she moves a little thotty, if you ask me. I didn't forget about that bachelorette party. I do need more from Kristen and Shaq already. Like, they were my favorite in the beginning. Well, the wedding. Especially since, A, they were black and we rooting for everybody black. And then especially since I knew she didn't like Shaq. So I was expecting them to at least be entertaining. But it looks like Kristen is trying to skate by without making too much noise or having to do anything with Shaq. And I'm not going for that. Something got to shake, Miss Mamas. And I mean quickly. Dominique is meeting with her mom. And she says that McKinley was petty and very cool about, not very cool, very vocal about all the things that he didn't want to do. Was Dominique not vocal about all the things she didn't like? The thing is, everyone is flawed. Your flaws just stand out more when you ride high and judge and condemn everybody else for doing the same thing that your behind is doing. And that's what Dominique is doing, and that's why I'm on her head. And that's why I'm on her head way more than I am on McKinley's. Same with Gina and Clint, but we're not talking about them right now. They make their partners look good just by being unaccountable and entitled. Dominique's mom is never going to see, Dominique's faults in this. If she saw Dominique objectively, which even a mother can do, she wouldn't have signed Dominique up for a show about marriage to begin with. Dominique should be on a show like Love Island or Are You the One? One of those sexual, immature, fun on the beach with alcohol the whole time kind of shows, where they make out with each other and vote on who gets to go to the boom boom room for the night. That's more of Dominique's speed. That's her type of show. Clint and Gina. Clint is chatting with his homeboy, and he doesn't think he and Gina will ever get over their hurdle. And they probably won't, because Gina has cake on her face. She wanted to poke fun at him constantly with no consequence. And the minute he simply stated aloud what his preference was, she demonized him. Gina's another one who thinks her ish doesn't stink. Gina and Clint are moving in together in the apartment after all. I think that's a very wise decision. The dog is too adorable. I'd stay in a marriage with Gina the rest of the season just to be able to pet the dog. Then I'd divorce her behind on decision day and then find somebody else with a dog just like that. You could use Gina to get on to the communities of dogs like that, and then you can just start to date women with that kind of dog, because that's a cute dog. But it's so big. It's one of those dogs that is cute because it's somebody else's. Ultimately, you know what I mean? Like, it's super cute for petting, but I don't know if I can do like a daily commitment to it. So that's why you just got to have the girlfriend or the boyfriend just to have it, just so you can just come over and pet it. Anyways, we're at their housewarming party. I'm like, here we go. We're about to get ready for Gina to fake smile and laugh. Pardon me. That came out of nowhere. We're about to get ready for Gina to fake smile and laugh and appear sane and reasonable and cool. But us at home, we're not fooled. I do like Gina's cactus earrings a lot, though. Cactus is my favorite plant. They were really cute. They're talking to each other's friends, but nothing interesting to me came of it really, and that's fine, because I wasn't going to be able to take Gina's victimizing herself to Clinton's friends on my screen. So yes, let's just have a nice party. Let's have some margaritas, surface discussion, keep things light, whatever it takes to get through the scene without Gina gaslighting. I was like, I can't do it. I can't. Like, Dominique already started the episode off and already put me in a mode. I'm like, I can't. Aries is with his cousin. Lord have mercy. I want to take a sip of my wine. I wasn't even going to drink no more wine for the rest of the night. But for Aries, his cousin, oh my gosh. this lady, I have a lot to say about her. Aries is not attracted to her. And he's such a physical person that he's not even letting the other great qualities about Jasmine take precedence and be in the forefront. And he admits it's not fair to her. And we know it isn't. Because at this point, Jasmine hasn't done anything bad to Aries. She's essentially done everything right? She's about the only one, if I'm not mistaken, that really, she doesn't really complain. I mean, you know, she's just like simple. I don't know how to, whatever. She's simple. She doesn't really do anything bad. Aries probably feels guilty because he has every reason to like Jasmine, but he just can't. But if his heart isn't in it, it's not worth it. She doesn't need to try to convince Aries to like her. And I'm like, this is a good place to call it quits. Aries' mind is made up, no matter how hard he tries to say it nicely. And Jasmine, at this juncture, still has her dignity. They are still in a respectful place. So they should technically end it and just be cool. Technically. But we can't have every couple ending their journey early. So yes, I understand that. But it's also not fun looking at couples we know that do not like each other. And so far, all the couples are not feeling each other, except for Nicole and Chris. That's not fun. Kirsten and Shaq, I need y'all to clock in ASAP. Aries' cousin Fal says Jasmine seems fake because she's not vocalizing how hurt she is by Aries. And I see it somewhere in the middle. And as much as I think the cousin has too much energy for Jasmine, she's not wrong that Jasmine was hurt. Jasmine is taking it well, but almost too well. I already told y'all, I couldn't stay with a man that was that not only has he verbalized he's not attracted to you multiple times, to you and to others, you've verbalized it to yourself and others and to him aloud. Nobody is confused. Everybody is in the know. Jasmine is no victim. One thing we cannot say is Aries is playing Jasmine. We cannot say that. Even Jasmine, no, he don't like me. My husband don't like me. She keeps saying it. Either Jasmine is desperate and this sort of rejection isn't new to her at all, or she wants to uphold some sort of image and thus is doing this for the wrong reasons. Because you cannot tell me that Aries is that cute. You cannot tell me that Aries is cute enough to look you in your face and tell you he isn't physically attracted to you and sees you as a friend and you still want to build a relationship with him. Ladies, is Aries that cute? Aries, absolutely not. I know Jasmine has access to a number of men that are attracted to her. She does not have to settle for whatever Aries gives her, which is not even not even the bare minimum, literally not even. My take is that of the two is that she's a bit desperate, honestly, because she is so impressed by Aries, as if she's never met a man with his own car, place, snacks, new couch set. Jasmine act like she one of them girls that be on some love after lockup, that be dating dudes in prison. You know what I mean? Because Jasmine's a lover girl. Jasmine, that's what it is. That's what it is. Jasmine dates dudes in prison. For real, for real, for real. That's her. It makes so much sense. That's her thing. That makes sense. Wow. Oh my God. I literally just came up with that right now. That makes so much sense now. Jasmine is the type she owns some love after lockup. That's what Jasmine do. Cause that's all Jasmine is satisfied with that. She just need to hear it. She will hear the sweet nothings. She already said her judgment was off, her picker was off. She probably can just get swept off her feet with just the sweet nothings in your ear. You know, jail dudes have nothing but time and game. The cousin isn't going to attend the housewarming party. because she doesn't want to be invested in something that's not going anywhere. And I don't blame her. She knows her cousin. She was already denouncing the marriage before Aries even walked down the aisle and met Jasmine. So her not being supportive of the wedding isn't personal to Jasmine, it's personal to Aries. That's what the cousin knows. But she needs to act like it. Because she acts like Jasmine is her enemy. Like Jasmine has a personal vendetta against her. She asks Aries if he wants to be married. He says yes. So she says to be a husband and go have sex with your wife. And again, I'm half and half. I'm split. On one end, hell no. Jasmine should not give her body to this dude in hopes of trying to get him to like her. This is not an arranged marriage. Well, kind of, but it's not like the real arranged marriage. Like, you won't be denied family wealth for not carrying out the union. You know, that kind of, like, y'all, well, you got to get married in order to keep the wealth, in order to get the next in line. You know what I'm trying to say. It's not like that. Jasmine does not have to convince Aries to want her. She can divorce him and move on and go have sex with somebody who likes her. Aries is just one guy. They got a couple more weeks left. It's really not that deep. This is the most logical option that I just stated. Move on. Wait it out if that's what you're going to do. It's a couple more weeks and go have sex with a dude that you like and that likes you back. It's really that simple. Like, you don't have to do the most. Give up your body for no Aries in hopes that he likes you back. We don't have to do that. We don't. On the other end, because I told y'all I was split, they are in a marriage and chemistry doesn't grow overnight. It may help to foster an environment that assists them, like touching and kissing and maybe playing a sexy drinking game, something to start them and put them in the right direction, put them in the mood. Sitting there talking about how much you Aries, how much you wish you were attracted to her doesn't help. That's not doing anything. Maybe she could do some gymnast moves on a stripper pole. Maybe they can take a shower or a bath together. But they have to put themselves, I sound like Pastor Cal, but for real, they have to put themselves in the mood. That way, that it makes way for physical connection. Even those of us in relationships with partners we're attracted to know that you still have to put in effort to be connected with your partner. You can't just sit on autopilot in any regard, for that matter. Every relationship takes those intentional acts. It doesn't have to be viewed as like forceful, because I can see how somebody says that, you know, Jasmine, I could see how even myself, because I would think that, like, Jasmine, don't force yourself to have sex with him. Like, don't force it. Don't do that. But it doesn't have to be viewed as forceful. It can be viewed as intentional. If you may be exhausted from work, you know, and you haven't had intimacy like all week, I don't necessarily see it as forcing yourself to be intimate with your man. Instead, I think you're being intentional. You're intentionally making time to nurture y'all's intimacy, because balance is important. It's a priority. And I do think Jasmine is willing. Aries is the one that's standoffish. Jasmine's willing. So let me tell you, Aries, what you should do. Aries should plan a sexy, romantic date, you know, a date night with flowers and chocolate covered strawberries, run a bath, pour some champagne. You know, ask her hella questions about herself, compliment her, call her beautiful, look her in the eyes, you know, take turns bathing on each other. That way there's an element of touching each other in a very intimate, sexy way. Lean in to make out with her. Do not just kiss her. Don't just peck her. Make out with her, grab her butt or, you know, the back of her head or something while y'all are kissing. You know what I mean? And then, you know, see where the night takes y'all. But you have to do something. You have to start somewhere. You can't just sit back and focus on the non-attraction. That's what Dominique did with McKinley. And we all know, we've all been in relationships. You know when you're done with somebody once all you can do is just nitpick and talk bad about them. When everything they do annoys you, that's when you're done. You don't like them anymore. So he's manifesting that even further by just constantly making that the focus. Focus on something else. How about focusing on what you do like about her and try something? You know, who knows? Like, she could touch him and send shivers up his spine for real. But this is the option that screams, y'all are married, get close like married people do. Seriously. But doing nothing helps nobody. This is not going to help y'all along. But we did see this sort of thing with Jasmina and Michael. Jasmina wouldn't even let Michael touch her. They went the whole season without even attempting their hand at physical intimacy and wondered why they couldn't stand each other. It was more so Jasmina, but you know, they of course they didn't make it on decision day. They spent all that time and nothing. We all know, come on, it does not take 2 months. I don't care. Kirsten. And this does suck because Jasmine is actually ready, I believe, for this sort of process. I actually do. But it's a wasted effort, you know, because of the foolishness they've paired her up with. I would have loved to see Jasmine undergo this journey with someone that liked her back, because she seems so open and ready for this. And those are the kind of people we like on the show. And it's just like a missed opportunity. Perhaps somebody like Shaq would have been a better match for her. It seems like everyone on the show was mismatched, and their true match was married to the castmate. You know what I mean? Like they weren't meant for the person they were paired with. Their match was like with somebody else in the group. Oh my goodness. Aries and Jasmine are chatting on the couch, and they're going over the guest list for the housewarming, per the housewarming conversation they had. And while Aries was calling out his guest list, Jasmine wouldn't write his cousin Fal's name on the list. And she sarcastically says that since Fal is invited, she must not be coming to her own housewarming. She says she's not comfortable being around her since she told her she was fake. Jasmine was being petty for not writing her name down, but I do understand her sentiments, because that cousin had a lot of energy for Jasmine. Whether you support the marriage or not, Fal, your smoke should not be with Jasmine. It should be with your cousin. Do not carry that to Jasmine. You don't know this lady. And most of us would not be too fond of a stranger being judgmental and calling us fake. This is why people accuse the cousin of wanting to be with Aries. She just does the most. And I'm thinking, does she always do this? Play his bodyguard if she doesn't like the girl he's with at the time? I just can't imagine being in my little brother's business to the extent I'm beefing with his love interest upon meeting them, let alone on behalf of a 40-year-old man. You do not have to approve of all, let alone like any of his relationships. Go tend to your own relationships. I wouldn't want her in my space either, honestly. Because she come in my space with that energy, she gonna get that energy right back. And I would have the upper hand because it's my house. The party is kicking off. I'm excited to see Aries and his personality come out, since he'll be around his friends. I was excited for that, but you didn't really, the scene, they, mismatch it. So the spouse goes with their spouse's people and vice versa. So I should have thought of that. Usually they have it where everyone like does a game or something together. Am I tripping? Or maybe that's where they do like the party later on in the season, because they do another party, right? Don't they do another party? They always do like a second party where the people come back over again, I think. So maybe that's the one where they play like games and do more stuff. I think. Okay. But I was initially like, oh, we're going to see him with his personality because he's going to be around his friends, but that's not what happened. Where are the rest of Jasmine's dogs? Maybe they said it last episode, but I didn't hear it. I think they probably said it last episode, but I didn't hear it. Some of it was a blur last episode. Like, oh my gosh. She says all 4 of the dogs sleep in the bed with her. And I won't necessarily judge her, but it would be gross of me to do that. I would consider myself gross to do. That's the standard that I have for myself. That's it. I'm not judging Jasmine for the decision she makes in her bed. There's no scenario in which I would experience her bed, so I don't care. But as far as my standards, absolutely not. That is so smelly. Like, Jasmine can't even bring a guy home without ample notice because her apartment is gonna stink. And that bed will be even worse. Honestly, Jasmine could be not getting laid because her bed is nasty. Because I sleep on white sheets. And me and my man and I, we get so much pleasure out of only laying under the covers in the most clean state possible. So at the housewarming, they're discussing the beef between Jasmine and Fowl with everyone. And Fowl started it. She was stank before meeting Jasmine, and she was stank after meeting Jasmine. Jasmine did, when you think about it, Jasmine did absolutely nothing to her. For real. For real. Jasmine didn't do anything to her. She didn't. She could say whatever she wants about Jasmine behind her back, but she didn't know Jasmine like that to be saying certain things to her. I don't care how blunt you claim to be. Direct that ish somewhere else. Because you come at me with that unnecessary smoke, everybody is about to get second-handedly offended up in this piece when I get through being blunt. Because what if Jasmine popped Fowl up in the mouth? Jasmine's people could be like, y'all, that's just how Jasmine is. When people talk to her crazily without knowing her, she pops them in the face. That's just how you are, right, Fowl? That's just how you are. You're just so blunt, right? No, censor that attitude when you come around me. That's what I know. You could be however you want. You get around me, check that shit. Check that ish, pardon. Say whatever you want behind my back, but respect me enough to fake smile and have some sense in my face for the time being. And if you loved your cousin and wanted the best for him, why start the interaction with his new wife like that? It's ultimately not your decision to make whether he marries a stranger or not. And y'all can call her loyal, caring, whatever you want. This lady needs some business. The fact that she doesn't like Jasmine is dumb. She literally doesn't even know this lady. Aries doesn't even know Jasmine, and that's his wife. You met this lady twice, right? Once at the wedding and then a meeting, yes, after. Twice. Like, this is a huge problem that I hope people are catching on to. I would never treat my cousin's partner like that, especially off just first meeting, second meeting. I would have told Aries how ghetto his family was starting to seem after meeting that messy cousin. I'd have been like, your family seem is your family ghetto? Always ghetto like that? No, thank you. But again, I do understand the cousin's concern about Aries and him getting married. All of that is valid. But Jasmine is not your enemy, sis. So watch how you talk to her. Aries and Jasmine's mother and sister are speaking. And I was like, I'm expecting the sister Taylor to be reasonable because I'd like to believe that Taylors are fairly reasonable people. Her mom asks how Aries would feel if Jasmine was willing to give up the dogs. And he says he'd be excited. All the dogs could go except for Duchess. And I don't blame him. I think 1, maybe 2 dogs would be a great compromise for their household together. But it is good that he's actually open to the idea of the dog and, and he's like excited. He actually likes the dog. I think that's a great thing. Jasmine tells Aries' friends that they haven't had sex, even though Aries is clear he's a sexual person. The friends had no comment because they know their friend. Therefore, they know exactly what the issue is. Ain't no way Aries would normally go 2 weeks living with the same woman without having sex. Everyone knows that. One of Aries' friends asked Jasmine if she thinks the experts picked right. She says that they did. And in her defense, the experts do not have the discernment, clearly, to see past what these people put on paper. You know, they are so gullible and naive. These people write a fairy tale, a fantasy of themselves on paper, and the experts take it as is. Then they meet them in person, and this person puts on this fake. They don't see through they don't understand personalities. Maybe they need like a psychologist or something, or some type of like someone who's good, who understands behaviors, to help them catch certain to catch dishonesty in a way. You know what I mean? To essentially catch dishonesty when they're not being true. But yeah, even on paper though, they're not that great together for a blind marriage. Being that she's a serial long-term monogamous and he's never been in a serious long-term relationship. They may have been fine had they started off dating and had they been attracted to each other. But even on paper, they're great. They're good for dating, for experimenting and exploring. But for a blind marriage, they are not. Even on paper, they're not good. So personified, I don't see how they were compatible or matched together. At least not yet. Perhaps we'll see it later on. Her mom asks, what are his expectations? And he says to keep getting to know each other and that they need a plan. And this goes back to what I already said. They need to start the intimacy off in some way. It's not flowing naturally. So now they're going to have to lubricate the vibe, literally and figuratively. They're going to have to get it wet, make something happen. It's not happening naturally. That's okay. Nicole is speaking to her friend. Pardon me. Nicole is speaking to her friend. She's liking Chris a lot, but I can tell that Nicole is not being herself. She even says that if things didn't work out with Chris, it'd probably be her fault, which is insane. Her self-esteem is in the toilet. I told y'all twice already that she made huge compromises for Chris because she's walking on eggshells, because she doesn't want to lose him, even though he could potentially be wrong in some of his decisions. But I think Nicole figures any piece of a man is better than no man at all. And it's super sad and it's not sustainable at all. The friend was absolutely right. Nicole can't not be who she is to protect Chris. That's not a life. And no man is worth that. When setting up for the party, Nicole tells Chris that she wants to do a flamingo themed party, and his idea of making these buffalo chicken sandwiches doesn't match the flamingo theme, according to Nicole. And I thought it matched great. Then I was like, what does flamingo themed food look like? It sounds like an island vibe, and chicken sandwiches are definitely like the island vibe kind of food. I know Nutella chocolate chip cookies sure aren't island vibed. She gets him this hideous shirt, but he's a good sport about it, and initially he agrees to wear it, but then she keeps, are you sure, are you sure, are you sure? So he opts out, yada yada. I would have worn it if I were at home, but she did look super cute. Nicole has been wearing some pieces on this show. She looked so cute in her flamingo inspired dress. It was super cute. But I've complimented Nicole's outfits the most out of anyone on the show. So clearly Nicole is coming cute. Chris is off with Nicole's friends. They say he doesn't seem like a fighter, and everything's not what it seems. No, he's not a fighter. But he doesn't fight because he doesn't compromise. He doesn't there's no exchange, no back and forth. There's no debate. If he doesn't care about it, he'll let Nicole make every decision blindly. But when he's engaged and cares about the matter at hand, there's no going back and forth with him. He makes up his mind on what they're going to do, and he sticks to it. And that's such a bittersweet trait, right? Because he's now in a marriage. You can't make stark, stiff decisions on behalf of the both of them all the time and offer no wiggle room or ability to compromise. That gets old. It's called being controlling. Perhaps fighting for your voice to be heard and your perspective to be considered isn't that bad. And I do hope Nicole starts to do it. So yes, he is no fighter, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Nicole is just so happy to have a nice guy in her face that she isn't able to see any of his flaws. And Chris having flaws doesn't make him less than a great guy. He's human. We all have flaws, and we should not be so desperate for a piece of somebody that we are blind to their not so great qualities. Finally, we see Kirsten and Shaq, and Kirsten is trying to play in our faces. The friends are there. Shaq and Kirsten do an excellent job at keeping it together and smiley when the cameras are around. They know how to look like they're into each other when we all know absolutely nothing is going down between them. So the friends asked how romantic the honeymoon got. The homeboy with the locks said that he doesn't even get kissing energy from them. Because it's not that you're absolutely on point. Kristen says, well, she tries to play in her face. She tells her friends that she's not a good kisser. That's why they haven't kissed yet. And she's really crazier than I thought if she thinks we're going to even slightly believe that. That sounded so dumb. Kirsten is way more intelligent than that. She's chatting with Shaq's people separately, and says she's trying to open up and she doesn't want Shaq to get discouraged. But Kirsten, you're not even showing him any behavior that could keep him encouraged. It's like telling the person in the passenger seat to be patient, I'll get you there on time. But you're still parked in the driveway. At least start moving the car. Put us in drive, even if you're going slow. At least start to put us in the direction so I can at least be sure we're going somewhere. Put the car in drive. So, he needs to know y'all going somewhere. Homeboy with the locks says him and his wife weren't initially attracted to each other, but they grew on each other. And I thought that was a good anecdote to give Kirsten and keep her encouraged. But Kirsten, I think she's being a little disingenuous. Kirsten's friends encouraged Shaq to be a bit more dominant. And I actually think Shaq could benefit from doing that. But he doesn't even feel wanted enough by Kirsten to, push up on her. She doesn't leave the door open at all. And that's not of somebody who really wants to be, who says they're ready for marriage. But the homeboy and his wife were the guy with the locks, him and his wife were in the proper setting for friendship first. And they, gradually let the attraction and union form. But Kirsten is in an entirely different predicament. She came on the show to get married. Now she's married. If Kirsten needed all this extra time to immerse herself, she shouldn't have come on this particular show. We've seen how the slow movers work out eventually in couples like Marla and Gil. Marla took forever to be affectionate with Gil. They literally had sex for the first time a few weeks before decision day. It took her forever to give affection. But she did end up opening up and being fully immersed and open to being with Gil and loving him. So I still have about 10% hope that Kirsten does something similar sometime soon, but it does look like Kirsten is just here to collect a check and be seen on TV as sweet, calm, beautiful, and cheesy. Her and Gina are putting on airs. Kristen says she's not even thinking not at all. She's not thinking about decision day. And she doesn't know if she wants to be with Shaq for the rest of her life. That's fine. But also, y'all don't have all day. I know people like to say we have the rest of our lives to do this. We have the rest of our lives to do that. No, not on this show. She needs to start showing this dude she's interested. Shaq should not have to wait 2 months for his wife to show interest. Because I don't care how shy and bad at kissing Kristen says she is, you cannot tell me that Kirsten conducts herself this prude consistently with dudes. It doesn't matter how fine Kristen is. Most men are not waiting that long for a woman to show interest. let alone sex. After the housewarming parties, all the couples are meeting up in the common room of the apartments to hang out. Even McKinley and Dominique show up, and I was thinking this must be the event where Dominique and Clint accidentally kiss, but it wasn't. Gina finally compliments Clint. She tells the group that he's a really good cook and he handles himself quite well, having been the only dude amid all the women at the housewarming. But I'm not surprised. Clint is pretty cool. I'm hoping the vibe that they're feeling right now currently is genuine and that they're ready to get back on track, namely Gina. McKinley asks if anyone has had sex yet, and Nicole and Chris have. Finally, someone. How boring it is for everyone to be taking it super slow. You know, I need a mix. I like when it's one or two couples who have sex the first night or on their honeymoon, a few couples who have sex soon after moving in, and then like one couple who's a bit difficult and waits it out. But not 90% of the cast waiting it out. That's boring. I like to see how the different sex scenarios play out and ultimately affect the relationship, because that's normal. These people aren't even being intimate without the sex. They're just all roommates. Jasmine keeps saying aloud how she's sexually attracted to Aries, but Aries is not sexually attracted to her. She keeps saying that aloud. But in her defense, as everyone says, they're all in the same boat as her. In every couple, one person wants sex and intimacy and one person doesn't. For all of the couples except for Nicole and Chris. And not Shaq trying to give Jasmine advice. I mean, yeah, not trying to give Jasmine advice about how the attraction will grow. He's talking about, look at us. Kirsten wasn't attracted to me. Now she won't stop rubbing my head. Exactly. Because she's not attracted to you. That's all she gonna rub. That's all she's willing to rub. Exactly. That's all the affection you're gonna be getting. Rubbing your head and her letting you put your arm around her. She's not doing anything else to show you she likes you. And does she even rub your head when the cameras aren't around? Dominique and McKinley tell the group they've decided to divorce. They don't even know why they really divorced when they try to explain it. The truth is Dominique wanted her way. She was never going to be a good candidate for a blind relationship situation. Dominique is a bit shallow. She's a bit childish. She's judgmental. And she's just one of those people. She has to have it her way. She's still 25. She's living in all of her glory right now. Her mid-20s glory. Okay? I am glad Nicole tells Dominique that she is going to regret her decision to divorce McKinley. At least this early on in the process. They literally just got back from the honeymoon. They didn't even get to interact back home and see what principles they really clashed on. Like some real things. Because you are not going to tell me but excursions on a vacation are a matter of principle. But Nicole, I'm like, girl, you speaking to a brick wall. Just let her be. Dominique is as hard-headed as I do not know what. But for a moment, a sliver of light at the end of the tunnel comes when Nicole asks if they could possibly reconcile after taking some time apart. And Dominique says, maybe. That would be great for this show for entertainment purposes, but it's not wise for McKinley to fool with her young behind anymore. And he nailed it right on the head. 1 minute Dominique wants to be married. Next, divorce. Next is a maybe. And that is a very young thing to do. He is absolutely correct. And I hope he's over it. McKinley could do so much better. Dominique is the one who's taking the L. They're both back in the apartment going over what they discussed at the party. McKinley asked her why she said maybe they get back together. And she basically says she felt a little pressured and on the spot. And once again, she shows her immaturity. Why even play like that in front of everybody? This is a whole marriage. Why lie? Why do that? Potentially giving McKinley false hope when that's not even what you want. That should have been the nail in the coffin for McKinley, if you ask me. Because this girl is crazy. She's the one on the show who's fake. People want to throw fake around. She's the one who's fake. That's why she's not accountable. She thinks she's portraying herself a certain way, and she's not even realizing that the real her has already seeped out pretty quickly. She says she wouldn't mind being friends, and McKinley says he doesn't want to be friends. Good. First off, as selfishly as she moves, I wouldn't even want to be her friend. Second, she is, first of all, with the friend thing, she's super emotional. Like, she's unaccountable. Oh my gosh, she's dangerous. She really is. Second, he has plenty of actual friends. He doesn't need to force a friendship with you. Y'all are getting the divorce. Y'all don't know each other. And it's only been a couple weeks. It is perfectly okay for y'all to walk away, never speak to each other again, and forget this ever happened. That's what I recommend. She says she's not feeling so good about herself right now, but that's only because of what everyone else is doing. Of course, I wish she could stay off my screen until the reunion, but unfortunately, because we know allegedly she kisses Clint at some point, we're probably going to see her again before the reunion. But she does claim McKinley has all this hate in his heart for her because he doesn't want to be friends with her. Insert adjective for pathetic, lousy, loser chick. She feels so justified in her behavior, and that's super scary. The next episode, we see Kristen and Shaq in robes, and Kristen say they're going to take things to the next level. She better not be capping. Aries catches COVID, so Jasmine is going to go play nurse. Chris says Nicole is a little thicker than what he usually goes for. Let's see if they roast Chris how they did Clint. Because Chris, the way his sounded much worse. His was a specific attack. It was a specific attack on Nicole. Clint's wasn't an attack on Gina. He was stating his preference. Chris said Nicole was thicker than what he usually goes for. He didn't put it on himself and say, I typically go for slender people, like Clint said. He put it on himself. Chris projected onto Nicole. So let's see if Chris gets that smoke. I am ready. Let's get into it. Let's get into the season. Kristen and Shaq, please clock in next episode. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Look, Married at First Sight, we're working with it, okay? It's not the best season, but we're trying to extract what we can. We're already here now, right? We too far to turn back. So we got to see it through. It is what it is. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for having some fun with me, talking about these crazy people. Come check me out in the next review, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.